if you can see my light, in that direction there is no mist. Now if I go here, you can see that. Now here we have a mist, because the wind is bringing the mist in, and now here there is no mist. That's just cool. Alright, I just thought that we might have a little discussion here about a couple of things which happen nowadays, and I thought that this setting would be perfect to have a discussion about Last of Us. But before I would do that, raising our glasses to the fallen heroes, Polygon just got dismantled, Polygon is destroyed, Polygon is gone. And I mean, I couldn't be happier because of those news. I was really sad that, I was unable to stream when those news broke out that Polygon just got what it deserved. It got destroyed. I mean, I leave like this. Okay. Whew. I honestly do believe that they pretty much deserved what they got, that they got demolished, they got destroyed. And the main reason of that is that they were openly and knowingly antagonistic to their own customers. And I must say that they never really had gamers as customers. They never really thought about gamers that they viewer base or anything. They thought that activist type people, they were their main audience and not gamers. And they were just talking about games, but not really, talking about whether or not which games are good, which games should you play. Instead, they were talking about which games are problematic, which games should be regulated, banned, or changed because of politically unacceptable things, because they do politically unacceptable things. A great example of this notion was when Polygon wrote an article about Bayonetta 2. Now, Bayonetta 2 is actually regarded as one of the best hack-and-slash games created in all time. Not just because it's a great game, but its general game mechanics, how the hack-and-slash game handles, is just superb. It's just maybe one of the, if not the best hack-and-slash type game ever created. Now, that itself should be praised, and not just because it's a great game, but also by Polygon and progressive type game journalists like them. It should be praised because it's a strong female lead character. It's exactly what they wanted from the gaming world, to produce more of strong females. But the thing was that Polygon idea of feminism was that you shouldn't have sexualized characters. Now, you see, Bayonetta was not just a sexualized woman. She owned her sexuality. She doesn't needed men. She was a strong, independent female who was able to handle herself. She owned her sexuality. She didn't know how she looked, and she used that as a weapon to wield. And, feminists back then and even today, they praise this idea of the strong woman, of the sexually liberated woman, When Nicki Minaj released the, Anaconda song, she was praised to be brave, independent, and strong, that she owns her sexuality and she's not afraid to show herself. But for Bayonetta, that was a crime. And now when Polygon made a review of Bayonetta, they actually gave her 6 out of 10 points. Now, they did not say any bad things about the game. They did not say anything bad about the gameplay or whatever. Their one and only problem with the game was that Bayonetta is sexualized. And that gave them the authority to give a 6 out of 10 for otherwise outstanding must-play game. Now, why is this really a problem? Lots of people can have different viewpoints. However, we are living in an age where these kind of game journalists had the power to, shape how successful a game is going to be, because they got the exclusive ability to give official reviews to games. So on Metacritic and other platforms like that, where they are aggregating these points, Polygon's 6 out of 10 did bring down Bayonetta 2's final score for below a 9. That means that this game supposed to have a above 9 rating, meaning that this game should have been labeled as a must-play for every single person out there. Now, it wasn't, because Polygon's, well, let's just call that review bombing. Because it was review bombing because they used their review to bring down the overall rating of the game, even though they themselves did not have anything to justify to do so above than their political alignment. Even though that's literally a feminist character, but another type of feminist what they support. And therefore, they did review bomb that game on the official sites. You see, this is why it was bad that journalists cannot take aside their political alignment and just objectively, assess a game. Yes, you can have your political alignments, but at least take into consideration the overall experience with the game. Because some gamers might be interested on your political takes, but also they are really interested whether or not the game is good, how it plays, how it looks, how are the combos, how it feels, what is the music like. And when everything is okay, everything is great, everything is perfect, your political alignment should be just one fraction of your entire impression, or at least what you are communicating with your audience. Now for Polygon, we know exactly that this was 60-40. Because we know from the other non-political reviewers that Bayonetta was a 10 out of 10, but Polygon gave it a 6 out of 10. That pretty much means that they gave 10 for the overall gameplay and 1 for the political message, therefore it became a 6. So for them, the political message was 40% of the review, and only 60% of the review was that whether or not the game is actually good. The only question is how can a game journalist site exist with these kind of politics, with these kind of ideas? This was just a simple example. There are many, many examples when Polygon did this. And it's just astonishing for me that how long Polygon prevailed with this mentality. I really thought that they are going to be finished much, much sooner. The other thing, which was a really famous Polygon mishappening, when Polygon released a Doom gameplay. When this new generation of Doom game, the first episode came out, Polygon made a gameplay video, a form of walkthrough. They started a new game and just recorded the entire thing. And released this video to the public. Now in this video, it's obvious that the person who plays the game never played FPS games on console. He's not moving the camera, and it's just really embarrassing, it's really slow, really clunky, and it's obvious, it's really, really obvious for anyone who sees it that this person is not a gamer. The person who plays that game never played with a controller, doesn't know how the mechanics work, how the game functions, and etc. And not just that, this is not a gamer. This person never did play with an FPS game with a controller. And that takes time to get used to, that takes time to practice. So in itself, that really shouldn't be a problem that somebody is practicing, FPS games, but this is a game journalist. This is a person who reviews video games as a living. That's his full-time job. But sure, fair enough, know your limitations. Then maybe this person is not the best person to review an FPS game on console if he cannot control the FPS game with a controller. And it gets even worse because how do we know that this person did not review other FPS games like that? Because right now we can see that this person cannot play with the game. But it's even worse because Polygon really thought that they could release this video. That it wouldn't be bad, it wouldn't be problematic if they just released this video. How do you reconcile with the fact that you are a full-time gamer, a full-time game journalist, your job is to play and review video games every day, all day, and you cannot use a controller? But you literally release a video which shows to the entire world that you cannot control a video game. What this should do with your reputation. And of course, what happens always, there was an outreach about this ridicule, mocking on the internet about how badly Polygon reviewers can play video games, and I mean, that pretty much questions whether or not Polygon as a reviewing site should exist at all. But of course, Polygon, with their almighty wisdom, came out and started to call out the gaming community for being idiots, harassers, and elitists, gatekeepers. Oh yeah, if you cannot 360 one-shot, no-scope somebody, then you cannot even play with the game, right? Right? No. Nobody said that. But if you cannot use the right stick of the controller to turn your head and shoot someone, not in the head, anywhere, you know? Yeah, you maybe should practice and not play the game live, you know? You maybe should have self-criticism. And, well, Polygon just didn't have that. So yeah, and there was many things like that, and I'm really glad that this is behind us. These people who made these review bombings, literal official review bombings, these people who couldn't play video games and they show the world that they are not gamers, they cannot even control a video game, yet they are the ones who's telling us which games are good and bad and which games should be supported and which games should be banned. Now they are banned. Now they are over, and now they are finished, and now the gaming world is a better place because of that.